Ultrasabers forum, Kresnik here. I'm going to go ahead and do my review of the Aeon V2. I purchased it last month, June. Bought it on a Friday. It came in on a Wednesday. There's nothing really negative I can say about it. There is a little bit of rattling that I'll go over a little bit later, but I'm going to take a look to try to fix that. I think it's my fault with all the damage I've done to the blade since I've gotten it. But it's a pretty basic model, and I prefer to go with the basic model when I'm looking at a new hobby or a new company. Mainly just because if they can do their entry-level item well, then that shows a lot about a company. And like I said, there's just nothing negative I can say about Ultrasabers. It's a fairly simple hilt. It's 12 inches long, I believe. It's all silver. This is the Aeon V2. Doesn't have the MHS compatible pommel, but it is a pretty simple look and simple operation. Turn the light on there. Got it in a Adegan Silver, however you pronounce it. As you can tell, it's pretty bright. I have rechargeable iron loop Sanyo batteries in here, but they're kind of getting a little bit dim just because I've been playing with it for the last couple of days. So basically, I'll go over some stuff regarding the actual saber itself. The hilt is about 12 inches. The set screws are here and here. Blade easily removable. Batteries down here, just unscrew, pull out the battery pack, replace the batteries. The LED is actually in the here at the top, and I'll go over that later when I'm showing you the difference between the leaf filters and the color discs that are supplied by Ultrasabers. There's nothing really wrong with the color discs supplied by Ultrasabers. They do the job, but you have to have at least 2 discs to get any kind of potent color in the actual LED, so in the actual blade. So I'll go over that, and I'll go over the difference between that and the leaf filter. But as I said, overall, very, very happy. It feels, it has just a solid feel to it. It's extremely light, but it just has a very solid feel. It's kind of flimsy right now because I don't have the set screws in it, because I'm going to show later how to do it, and I don't want to keep screwing the blade in and out, so, well, that's not bad. But anyways, so I'm going to go over the leaf filters and the color disc, but overall, just extremely happy with Ultrasabers in my purchase. It came out to be about $76, with shipping and handling is about $90, and like I said, ordered it on a Wednesday, came in on a ordered it on a Friday, and it came in on a Wednesday, so the following Wednesday. Extremely fast shipping. It came completely covered in bubble wrap, completely ready to be turned on. The batteries that were in it were cheap generic batteries that were practically dead, so obviously the instructions that come with the box is to immediately replace your batteries. That is one negative thing I do have to say about Ultrasabers, is that the instructions are pretty limited, but obviously if you're on the forums or just doing a little bit of research on the website, you can pretty much have all the details that you need to get started. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and go over the difference between the leaf filters and the color disc. So just 1 second. Well, since I'm not exactly a great demonstrator as far as reviews are concerned, I kind of wanted this to be a little bit more informational as well. So a lot of questions, a lot of research I came across to find out if the Adegan Silver was worth going with. And overall, I'm extremely happy with it, just because the first day I had it, and pretty much since then, I've probably tried out 50 different color combinations. I ordered 3 sets of color discs. Previous reviews basically said that the 1 color disc is just not clear enough, so I went ahead and ordered 2 extras just in case. Never know. I also ordered a Lee swatch book. You can go on their website, and basically you just order it and pay for shipping and handling, and you can get their entire color line of swatch book. You can also get an Apollo swatch book, a Roscoe Lux swatch book, and I believe there's a couple other manufacturers out there. Just basically anything that's got colored filters, with ID tags and whatnot. Just order the book. I'll go over that here in a moment, but I just wanted to kind of display the difference between the color discs and the colors. First of all, how you actually set the blade and change the filters I'm going to show you here. 2 set screw pieces. I understand some sabers only have 1. Majority have had 2. Set screws in, hex wrench to get out, remove the blade. As you can tell, I have quite a few holes in it just because I've been messing with the colors too much. So basically, just to show you the difference, I laid out a couple of the colors that are evident on the color spectrum with the matching the color disc with the leaf filter. So here's a dark yellow color disc, just in comparison. So just to go over that real quick, color disc, inside LEDs in there, drop it in, not difficult. Replace blade, turn saber on. On camera, I have no idea what this looks like because I'm not looking at it, but in person, it's a very pale yellow. It's got kind of a like a tinny, yellowy, pale color to it. Not very vibrant. Now, when you put 2 in, you actually get a decent color. It's more of a darker yellow. I wouldn't quite call it a true sentinel yellow, but it does come up fairly dark, vibrant. The color discs are great for the lighter colors on the color wheel, as far as yellows and purple and pinks. They actually turn out pretty well with the color disc, but all the other colors, I can tell you, they're just terrible. Too light yellow. This turns out to be more of a lime green yellow. It's actually a very cool color in comparison to what a sentinel yellow is. It's pretty close, and it's very, very bright. You may not see it, pick it up on camera. Oh, I guess I could look at the camera. Oh, yeah, kind of comes in as a yellow, more of a greenish there on the bed color. It's a light blue bed cover, so things are going to come up a little bit different from when they look like on the camera. The color discs for the yellows and the dark yellows are actually really, really nice. I can't really complain about it too much, but you want to see what... And sometimes they stick in the actual blade and you have to kind of dig them out there. But just as a comparison, this is a leaf filter. It is a gold, I think it's a light gold or a golden autumn color. Just one filter gives you a really, really nice, vibrant yellow. Again, I can't really tell. Yeah, it's kind of on camera. But just in comparison to 2 color discs as to 1 leaf filter, this is just a really, really nice yellow in person. The important thing to note too is that you kind of want to stay in the middle of the color spectrum when you're looking at the leaf filter book, just because if you go too dark, it's just completely dim and you just don't get enough light through the actual saber to make it look well. As an example, there's really only 1 or 2 reds in the Lee swatch book that will give you a nice red, and this is one of them. It's called Bright Red. It's an extremely sithy, dark red, but it's very dim. It's not really lighting much up in the room as compared to the blazing red that you would get as a standard LED color. It does have a solid, it's white, pinkish down here, gets more solid towards the end of the blade, but it does look very nice and sithy. It's coming across very pink on camera, but it is actually fairly red in person. I'm not even going to show you the reds for the color discs because they just don't come up red at all, no matter how many you put in there. No matter what color combination, you just simply cannot get a red in the color disc. So just to show you a quick example of the dark purple that comes as a color disc. This is just one. It's actually it's a light pink, magenta-y purple color. If you put 2 of them there, you get the darker shade. But it's fairly bright too. It lights up the room as far as movement and whatnot. So again, if you use 2 of those, it looks, I'm turning the light on and off just because these things are so easy to lose in the dark. And as an example, easiest way to check a color filter is just get a white light and look through it, and you can kind of tell what the difference is in the color. So this is medium purple. As you can tell, it comes across as a very dark, well, on the camera it's coming off pretty light, but maybe I should change the white balance on that. But in person, it's a very dark purple, has kind of a dark tint around it, and just looks very, very vibrant. Just in general, with the Adegan Silver, I always suggest going with a lighter color wheel. Again, kind of show you the difference between color disc, one color disc. That's the dark green. The dark green color disc actually kind of comes across as a Sunrider's Destiny color, and it passes pretty well for that. So I kind of have to reframe what I said earlier. This green is actually kind of nice, the darker green, but it's fairly pale. It's got a lot of it's bright, but it's just kind of a pale green. So in comparison to that, let's do that. Let's compare that color to my favorite color, which is I believe it's marine blue or peacock blue. I think this one might actually be green, but it's just a much more solid and vibrant color as compared to the one color disc, and it's fairly bright. This to me is closer to the Sunrider's Destiny as opposed to just the one darker green color disc. And just to show you the difference also between an orange, dark orange color disc, comes across as a very creamy orange. This is pretty close to what I think the fire orange would look like. It's fairly bright with a single color disc, and actually looks pretty nice, except for the fact that at the bottom it comes across too creamy for what I like. It's just too white. Might not be coming up on camera, but it's just kind of a white color towards the bottom of the blade. And then as you go, it gets a little bit darker. But if you really want a dark Firestone, darker fire orange color, again, they always stick in the blade. Careful about that. It's a color on the Lee swatch book called Mage, or yeah, I think Mage is closer to the reds. But it's a very, very dark orange, and it actually looks really, really nice. It's basically one of my top 3 favorite colors on the Lee swatch book. As far as the darker, but still gives enough ambient light outside of the blade that it's worth having on. No matter what, you're going to sacrifice brightness getting an Adegan Silver, unless of course you just go with Adegan Silver, which is basically white. Otherwise, it's just not going to be as bright as the standard colors and forum colors and whatnot. Greens, kind of the same thing. It's very difficult to get outside of kind of the lime-looking greens, even with the Lee filters. This comes up as almost as a green apple, like candy green. Extremely lime green in person. Yeah, you can see that on camera as well. So you kind of have to really play with the greens to get a green that you like. The darker greens turn out a little bit better. And I wish I would cut one out. Hey, let's do that now. Let's cut one out. Easiest way to do it is you just get to your filter, and the one I liked was fluorescent green. That was the one I was using for the Sunrider's Destiny. So let's find a darker green. Primary green, let's go with that. Basically what I do is I just take color disc, or you can use the bottom of your blade to outline it. It's pretty simple process. I just stick the color disc on there, cut around the outside of the color disc. So I'm shooting this on a Canon T2i, and apparently I did a bunch of talking and none of it was on camera. I'm gonna wrap this up. It's getting getting too long here, but basically I cut out the, I gotta stop saying basically. Anyways, I cut out the green filter from the Lee swatch book just to show you an example of a darker green. This is actually a pretty nice green. It's moss green. It's pretty close to the consular green that you would have on the forum, the standard color. I think it's as close as it gets. It's moss green on Lee filters. It's 089 moss green. It's actually a really nice green. It's still a little lime, but it's got the light color to it. You can probably see all the little damage marks on my blade. We were screwing around on the 4th of July, hitting a lot of Hasbro lightsabers and whatnot together. Well, I'm gonna go back to my favorite color, which I lost it. Awesome. Well, through the magic of editing, I've found my favorite color. It was actually the fluorescent green, and I'm gonna just go over real quick how to put the set screws back in. Just screw them in. You don't technically need to use the wrench if you can get it to the point of contact there. I've damaged my blade quite a bit from over tightening these things, and that's probably why I'm having a little bit of a loose issue. I noticed it when I first got it, but it was a little bit more pronounced now. I do use the hex wrench to tighten it. Just basically, you want to stop using the word basically constantly, and tighten it just enough so it's flush to the hilt, and then it grabs the blade. Obviously, you don't want to just tighten it enough to where it's flush. So overall, I'm extremely happy with my purchase, and I'm going to be, much to the chagrin of my wife, I'll be continuing to make purchases at Ultrasabers. I eventually plan on getting a full decked out sound, flash on clash, everything, all that good stuff that everybody raves about. Probably the Archon or the Consular, more of the heavier multicolored hilt type. But as I said in the beginning, I wanted to purchase the simple entry-level model just because I wanted to see what the customer experience was. Was it worth it for me to be flipping this thing around? And I do it quite often. I walk my dog at night with it. My wife pretends she's not with me. She's quite embarrassed by it, but eventually I'll get her one and it'll be fun. Anyways, thanks for watching. Again, review Kresnik, review Aeon version 2, Adegan Silver, and my color fluorescent green. Thank you.